Hi everyone, I'm Andre. Welcome to Bringing Brookfield Zoo to you. Nature can be an endless source of exploration, engagement, and relaxation. Although we may engage in nature in very different ways, nature offers a lot of ways for us to investigate. Let's check in with our animal care professionals and find out more.
Today we are going to be letting our reticulated giraffe herd out into their exhibit yard for the first time this season. And so the gates should be opening soon and you will start to see the herd come out into the yard. We have 4 herd members in our herd here at Brookfield Zoo. We have 2 males and 2 females. Our oldest herd member is Jasiri. And they're coming out and they're nice and calm for now, but usually they stretch their legs. So we'll see. Jasiri is the lightest colored giraffe that's out in the yard right now. She's also the oldest herd member. She is 15, but she will turn 16 this summer. Her son is the tallest one in the yard. He's the one that's kind of walking around on his own right now. His name is Pataka. He was born here at Brookfield Zoo, and he is 7, but he'll turn 8 this spring. And he was actually born on World Giraffe Day, which is the longest day of the year. So we always celebrate his birthday here in spring on World Giraffe Day. And then the one that's closest to us now is Arnita. Arnita was also born here at Brookfield Zoo. She is 14 years old. And then our last herd member is the one that is on the far side of that fence. That is a toe. He is 5 years old. He'll turn 6 in spring. He is our breeding bull, so we usually manage him separately. Usually when the herd comes out into the yard and they usually get to stretch their legs a bit and they do some running. And so we didn't want to put him with the herd just yet to let them get over their initial excitement before we threw him in the mix too, because he spent most of the winter in a separate area from the rest of the herd, because like I said, we manage bulls separately typically, which would be the same in the wild. Bulls would not stay with a herd of females. So like I mentioned, these are reticulated giraffes. We have one of 9 subspecies of giraffe. So reticulated is one of 9 different subspecies that are recognized. Giraffe live all over the continent of Africa, but reticulated giraffe are from Kenya, Ethiopia, and Somalia. There are fewer than 10,000 reticulated giraffe left in the wild, so their population number is quite low, and they've lost greater than 60% of their population over the last few decades. So unfortunately, they are considered an endangered species. Some of the other subspecies that you might see in zoos across the country are Rothschild giraffe or Maasai giraffe. Those are the most common ones in zoos in the United States. So giraffe are from Africa, like I said, which means they are not super cold hardy, which is why they spent the winter time inside in their indoor exhibit. And we have given them access to their holding yard a few times for them to kind of get used to outside before we gave them access to this big yard, where they will be hopefully for the majority of the rest of the spring and the summer. Sometimes if we have cold or rainy days, they'll have to stay inside. So our heaviest giraffe weighs about 2,300 pounds, and those are both of our males. They weigh right about the same weight right now. We weighed them last about 2 months ago. And then our females are a little bit smaller. They weigh about 1,700 to 1,800 pounds. So the males weigh quite a bit more. These guys can reach heights of anywhere between about 15 to 18 feet tall. The tallest living giraffe on record is about 18 feet 8 inches tall, and he lives at a zoo in Australia. So ours are not quite that tall. Our females are probably closer to 15 feet, and our males a couple feet above that. These guys are browsers. So one of the reasons they're very tall is that they eat leaves off of trees. Obviously, there's no leaves on the trees right now, so they get a grain here at the zoo, and they also get alfalfa, which is hanging in baskets around the yard. But when there are leaves on the trees, we cut branches for them and we offer them fresh leaves every single day, since that's what they'd be eating in the wild. They really like acacia. That's the primary type of plant that they eat in the wild. But here at the zoo, their favorite leaves tend to be things like sugar maple and mulberry. Those are their favorites. We'll give them a bunch of different things, but those seem to be the ones that they prefer. In the winter time, when we don't have all the leaves on the trees, we'll supplement their diet with some high fiber foods. One of those is beet pulp, so that they're still getting that fiber that they need for their digestive system.
So we have a question. Do you train them for trims and blood draw, like on their hoofs and their blood draws?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we do train them. None of them currently need hoof trims, but we do practice touching their feet and touching their legs. And so all of them are used to, they get a cue that we say touch, and they're used to having their legs touched and their hooves knocked on. And Arnita, we've actually chiseled some length off her front hooves before, but it's something that we will continue to work with them on, because as they get older, they might need hoof trims. And so it's good to have that training already established and in place. We go to the dentist when we have, a tooth issue, but these guys obviously can't do that. So we train them for dental radiographs, very similar to what we would get when we go to the dentist, but they have to hold their head very still, and the vet's brought in the machinery needed to take the pictures. Pataka was one of the ones who had dental radiographs done a few years ago. And we do a bunch of different training with them. It's good for them. It helps us with husbandry behavior, so it helps us when we have like a medical issue. They're all trained to touch a target and to follow a target. We have a place where we do medical procedures, and they're trained to enter that space. And so we do a lot of different training with them, like we do with many of the animals here at Brookfield Zoo.
What are some of their favorite types of food?
So in the wild, they would primarily eat leaves. They're browsers, which means they pluck leaves from the trees, and their tongue is actually specially designed to do that. So it's kind of hard to see from here, but their tongue is anywhere between about 18 and 21 inches long, and it's what we call prehensile, which means it can grip like our fingers grip, and so it can reach through the thorns of the acacia tree and pluck individual leaves off to eat. But here at the zoo, they also love leaves. We often give them like mulberry and sugar maple, but all different sorts of leaves. They also like playing branches. So at this time of year, before the leaves have leafed out, we give them branches. On our right side of the yard, we have some branches tied up to the trees, and they will pluck all the little twigs from that, and they'll even strip the bark from that. They like some produce. So when we train them, we'll often train them with things like sweet potato or carrots or apples. But then the staple of their diet in the zoo is alfalfa and grain, and they like those too. They like pretty much everything that's part of their normal diet here.
What are the horns on their head for?
So those are actually called ossicones, and they are ossified cartilage. So they're not quite the same as some of the other horns on other species of antelope. And they have them from birth. They actually lay flat on their head at birth, and then they pop up over time. And both the males and females have them. I don't know if you've seen that from this distance. But those are actually, over time, more and more calcium ossifies to them. And in males who swing their necks at each other to compete for females, it makes their skull heavier, and so it delivers a harder blow when they fight with those other males.
What's their life expectancy in human care?
It's about 15 to 25 years in the wild, and in managed care, it tends to be on the longer end of that, or go even longer than that. Some zoos have had giraffes that live into their early 30s. So in the wild, obviously, sometimes there's droughts and they don't have the right food. Here in the zoo, they have constant nutrition, they have vet care, and so we take care of some of the issues that might cause a giraffe in the wild to decline, and that's why they live longer in human care. So there are 9 recognized subspecies of giraffe, and some of the populations are considered endangered and some aren't. So these guys are, the reticulated giraffe are. The big reasons are habitat loss. They're obviously a large animal. They have to move over big distances to search for food. And they browse, like pluck leaves from the trees up to 75% of their day. So they eat a lot, and they have to constantly move to make sure they have enough food. So habitat loss is a big one, but also habitat decline and fragmentation. So when habitat starts to get broken up by roads and villages and cities, but also they are unfortunately illegally poached sometimes as well.
About how big is a calf when they're born? Are they pretty big?
Yeah, so they're about the size of a human being. They're about 150-ish pounds, and they can get up to between about 5 and 6 feet tall when they're first born. As a prey species, they have to stand up very quickly and start moving around very quickly so that they don't become prey to something like a lion. So they get up within minutes to hours after birth, and they start moving around with mom and the rest of the herd pretty quickly.
How do you pick their names?
They all got their names different ways. Jasiri had come in from another zoo, so she was named at the zoo she came in from. Pitaka was named by a family. Arnita was named after actually one of Brookfield Zoo's longtime docents. So the docent program here at Brookfield Zoo, their symbol is the giraffe. So many of our docents have a very close connection with the giraffes. So they all kind of get their names different ways.
And this is one I think a lot of people are wondering, will the giraffe feeding be coming back?
It will be. So it's on the far side of this yard where Pitaka's actually standing right now. He's looking to see if maybe it opened early this year and he can get some treats over there. And people can come and buy kale, which is one of the giraffe's favorite food items, and they can get to meet a giraffe up close and feed them. Well, I think that's about all the time we have for today. Thank you guys so much for joining us here at the giraffe yard. We hope you enjoyed that, bringing the zoo to you, and thank you for continuing to support us.
There are many ways to explore nature. Let's visit the Play Zoo and visit with Jenny to find out more.
Hello Play Zoo friends, my name is Jenny. Thanks for joining us for the Hamill Family Play Zoo video series, bringing the Play Zoo to you. Today, we'll be celebrating nature and a very special holiday by taking a nature walk for Earth Day. Let's go! There are lots of ways to take a nature walk. Today, let's take a touch walk. We can walk outside and explore the elements of nature with our sense of touch. Let's record what we find on our nature walk. We can bring paper and crayons with us and draw or write about the things we find. We can tape or clip our paper to a piece of cardboard to give us something sturdy to write on. Since we're going on a touch walk, let's start by tracing our hand on the paper. You can ask a partner to help you. Now let's start our touch walk. I wonder what this tree trunk feels like. This tree trunk is rough. We have discovered something in nature that is rough. Let's record our discovery. I wonder what this leaf feels like. Let's touch it gently. Whoa, the leaf is smooth. We have discovered something in nature that is smooth. I wonder what this rock feels like. This rock is hard. We have discovered something in nature that is hard. I wonder what this flower feels like. This flower feels soft. We have discovered something in nature that is soft. I'm going to touch this mud next. Ooh, it feels wet and squishy. Wow, we found lots of different textures in nature on our touch walk. I wonder if we can find more things in nature that feel rough, or smooth, or hard, or soft. I wonder if we can find more things in nature that feel wet or squishy. I wonder if we can find things in nature with textures that are different from the ones we recorded. We can take our touch walk picture with us on our next nature walk and record our discoveries. That was fun. Taking a nature walk is a wonderful way to celebrate nature on Earth Day. You can send pictures of your Earth Day celebrations to the address on your screen. We'd love to see how you celebrated Earth Day. See you next time.
Nature explorations can be a lot of fun. We hope that you had fun with us today, and we hope to see you soon here on Bringing Brookfield Zoo to You.